So I noticed when we moved into our new house, I drink almost exclusively water, or I also will drink tea, and also coffee. And that really is all I drink. Every now and then when I go to my mother-in-law's house, she'll fix me up a quote unquote fancy drink. It might be like a, it might be like a sparkling water, a flavored sparkling water with like some cranberry juice in there or something like that, because they have cocktails, and I'm boring. I don't drink any alcohol. I'm basically, like I say, just water. Sometimes I'll get fancy at a restaurant, throw like a squeeze of lemon in it, just because like I'm that bougie. And of course I want it in a fancy glass, and I might want like a little lemon wedge or orange wedge on it, just so I can feel like I'm part of the party. If I do go out to a club, what I always get will like a cranberry juice on the rocks, with the, and I want all the accoutrement as well. But we just moved into this house a little over a month ago, and I noticed that the water just, oh my gosh, is just terrible. So I knew I needed to do something. So I decided I did some research and found that looked like it wasn't terribly expensive, wasn't terribly complicated to install. The filters weren't horrible, so as far as cost was concerned, but it also looked like it was really effective. It has like a 3-stage filtering system. One of the filters generally is supposed to last 6 months, one lasts 12 months, and one lasts 18 months. And it's a Waterdrop, and I got it from Amazon, and I'll put the link in the description just in case you want. And because we have the tariffs coming up, I decided to go ahead and buy the replacement filters, so that when it did come time and due, they wouldn't be $3 million. But you see, there's 3 different types of filters that are included. This, I did speed up the installation part of this, or this would have been like a 40-minute video, and there's no reason for it. So apologize for underneath my sink looks crazy, but you have to remember that this house was built like in the 1980s. So this is the original cabinetry. So, not too shabby for, over 40 years old. You know what I mean? I think it looks in pretty good shape. So right here, I'm trying to find where I will actually fit it. Now, this is supposed to be a template that you drill holes, because this thing is supposed to sit up, about an inch or two. I think it was 2 inches up, so that you could easily replace the filters as it was come due. But basically, it's supposed to just hang from these 2 different screws that you put in. So in this clip right here, you can see that it's a little bit out of the camera view, but you'll be able to. But it doesn't really. At the end of the day, as you'll see here in a minute, it really doesn't matter where I place this thing, because what I'm finding is that this kitchen, it's interesting. We came from a house that was I think it was right under 1,200 square feet with a 1-car garage, and this house is almost 2,100 square feet with a 2-car garage. So we almost doubled our space. Because we do tend to use our garages as kind of like extra living spaces, places where we might do hobbies, kind of like man cave kind of thing for my husband. It's where he likes to hang out and do his little projects. He does the Warhammer 40, whatever that is, the Warhammer thing with the little figurines and stuff that he paints. So that's like his little zone. And also it's where I keep my tools, because I feel kind of crafty from time to time. I feel like I can build just about anything, and generally speaking, I end up being okay at it. So we do tend to use our garages as living spaces rather than places to put our cars. And frankly, the way the driveway pardon me, is on this new house, the driveway is like super steep all the way up to the garage door. And I have backed my Prius up the driveway, because I thought at first I would park in the garage. And my Prius did it, but it wasn't super happy about it. I mean, it let me know it was working overtime, and I thought, this is just not something I think I want to do every single day. And also the driveway slopes straight down to kind of a narrow road that runs behind all the townhouses. So say it ever got slippery, if it got slick, there'd be no correction space. I mean, you would just like jettison down like a sled and then end up in the back of somebody else's townhouse after going, because the next townhouse below us is kind of like even down a little bit a hill past the road. So you go down our driveway over over the width of a very short road, and then down the back hill of somebody's backyard and then straight to their townhouse. And that just, we all like our little thrills, but that's just not one that I necessarily want to experience. So here you've seen I have successfully hung it, and I'm putting not paper towels, I'm putting a towel down because I'm about to disconnect the water source. And dang, this thing was tight. I had to actually get a wrench to loosen it up because it was like uber tight. And I'm like, you know what? I have a tool for that. And of course, it's one of these things where you always have to think of, okay, do I turn it? Is the clockwise this way or is it that way? It's hard when you're not right on top of something. So I had to kind of like do the thing the mental construction in my head. It went this way or that way. And I had, before I started unplugging or unscrewing this, I had turned on the faucet up above just to make sure that the water was indeed off. So it was nice that was working. We've had some interesting things in this house where we found that I don't know how certain things pass code because they don't look like they were ever changed. They look like they were how it came when it was first built. And it was like, oh, well, interesting. What had happened was about a week ago, all the power except for the lights went out on the entire first floor. And the first floor is the garage and a bedroom and a bath. And literally all the power in the entire first floor went out. And so I immediately thought of the freezers. So I took some extension cords downstairs, one for the freezers that were in the garage and one for our house partner, that is his bedroom, so that he'd have, he'd have electricity. And then the next day, my real estate agent referred me to a electrician. They came out really, really quick. So perfect. And we were just having to investigate through the whole house, like what was happening, because we couldn't find anything. There were, the breaker wasn't flipped off. There were no GFCI plugs that we could find. Like literally nothing was really askew. And I just started kind of going through the house as they were investigating. I started investigating myself. I just carried around a lamp with me and discovered that on the back deck, which is on the second floor, the plug out there, the light just kind of flickered. And I made sure that I went and plugged the light back inside. It was perfectly fine. So I knew something was up with that plug. And I didn't think anything of it being part of it, but I just mentioned it to the electrician. And they were replacing the plug downstairs that was just loose. It was just like the bottom part of it, just, when you would try to plug something in, it would just go in, but it was still working. And meanwhile, he replaced the plug on the back deck just because it was obviously defective. And that ended up being the problem, was this defective plug on the back deck. And I'd also noticed when he was replacing that, I thought, well, wait, our problem is on the first floor, not the second. So then I went and it's Christmas time, so I went and checked, and of course, the Christmas lights weren't working out in front, which is also on the second floor. So I was like, so you mean to tell me, and here you see me fiddling around with this, plumber's tape. I always fiddle with it, especially when it's not right on top of you. But I noticed that the plug on the second floor in the front wasn't working either. So anyway, replacing that plug got it working. I thought, oh my gosh. So the entire first floor and then the outside second floor is all on one circuit. Well, then the next morning, cause I like the house cold. So what happens is our housemate runs a heater in the basement, and then I just keep the heat really, really low in the house itself, because if I turn up the heater in the whole house for him, the master, which is on the top floor, the third floor, would be like super hot and he'd still be cold. So that doesn't make anybody happy. So I just let him run a very efficient little heater down in the first floor, which keeps him nice and warm. He keeps it very toasty. And then I almost practically keep the heat off in the rest of the house. And then naturally his heat just kind of raises up, and it makes me happy, makes him happy, and keeps our utility bill down. So all is well. But anyway, The next morning I ran just a little heater in the master bath, which is on the 3rd floor, so I was going to take a shower. And the GFCI clicked off in the bathroom from the heater, which which shut down the entire 1st floor and the 2nd floor outside lights. So reset the GFCI, and then just was stunned to think that the entire 1st floor, outside 2nd, and the 3rd floor bathroom are all on the same circuit. But whatever, I asked the electrician, he said it would be very expensive to change. They'd have to rip up drywall and all that kind of stuff. So here you see I have successfully installed the new kit. Luckily, the hose for the new unit, you don't have to plug in it. You can use the hose that was already connected to the sink at the top, so I don't have to do that. It's got a place where you just put the new hose on the supply line, and then you can connect the old hose into that. So you only have to just unhook one thing. Now, what I'm discovering here is that I don't think you can't see it. So right now you can see like the left side of the left filter. On the far right filter, the new hose. The new hose goes on both. The supply goes in on the left, and then the one going to the actual sink comes out of the right. Well, the one on the right sticks out so far that you can't actually close the cabinet door with it hanging where I have it. So now I'm attempting to take it off, and I'm like, you know what? It's just going to sit on the floor, and I'm just going to push it back. So it seems to be working perfectly fine. So that's why you see me having struggled. And now I'm trying to put the lid on it. I'm like, you know what? Good enough. We're cleaning up our little mess. I'm sure you're very grateful that I did it fast. And then we have clean drinking water, and it's beautiful. It's a love, peace, and release.